Fine. So here a given algorithm, how much time it is taking, how much memory it is occupying, we need to know, right? For that we are going for two concepts. One is called time complexity. What is the first concept we are going to discuss? Time complexity. And the second concept will be space complexity. Fine. So first we are going to discuss about time complexity. After that we are going to discuss the space complexity. Okay, as we don't have any algorithm with us, we will be taking some pseudo code. After the pseudo code we will be taking you to the time complexity analysis, right? First point, amount of time required to run a program. Amount of time required to run a program is called time complexity. Can you please tell what is time complexity? Amount of time required to run a program is called time complexity. Amount of time required to run a program. Amount of time required to run a program is called time complexity. Okay. Let's take some example so that you will understand what I mean to say, right? Amount of time required to run a program is called time complexity, right? Now we'll see what is time complexity. In order to do time complexity of a given algorithm, I don't have an algorithm. That is the reason I will be taking a program and I'll start doing analysis on that. Okay, see here. Let us take, I'll just take same small example, void main. So int I comma n for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I is equal to I plus 1. Printf hello. This is a program we have. Now the target is how much time this program will take. So most of the time this program is faster or slower, the people are just thinking this way, right? So you need to understand, it's not about how much time the program is running. No, not that way. What is the growth rate of this program, you need to understand, not about the time. Why? Because might be my system is i8 processor, this program will run faster. Might be some other system, might be i10 processor, very faster. Some other system will be i3 processor, some other way. And another important thing is, within a same system, if you are running only this application alone, then it will run faster. Let us take, if you are running some other programs and parallelly you are trying to execute this, then definitely processor is busy in doing some other work and my work. Definitely this program will have slow, right? See, two important things you need to know, right? What is the first thing? You cannot tell how much time, how much fast this program runs. Why? The reason is, why we cannot tell, there are two reasons. First reason is, might be some person using system, the processor rate will be different. Some other person using system, the processor rate will be different. That is the first thing. Second thing, what? Within the same processor, you are running, assume there is no other application running, you are running only your application. That is the important thing. Then your program might be will execute, let us take in 1 nanosecond. Assume 100 programs are running and parallelly your program is also running. Then this program might take 10 milliseconds. We really don't know. So it's not about telling how much time it takes. It's not exactly about time. It's all about what is the growth. What is the growth this program will tell. Okay, let me explain what is the meaning of growth and all the things. You will understand this. Okay, fine. So what we are going to do is growth rate we are going to calculate here, right? What is the growth rate we are going to calculate? We will discuss. Okay, so first we will be assuming some system. After that we are going to generalize that. Okay, fine. See here, try to understand amount of time required to run a program. What is the exact meaning? I am going to discuss. Let us take, to run this instruction we need t1 units of time. We need how many units of time? T1 units of time. To run this instruction we need T2 units of time. To run this instruction we need T3 units of time. To run this instruction we need T4 units of time. To run this instruction we need T5 units of time. To run this instruction we need T6 units of time. I hope this is very clear, right? And here I am going to substitute 5. I less than or equal to 5. What I am trying to do there, I less than or equal to 5 I wrote. Just you will understand. So T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 will vary. Let us take, you are using I7, might be T1 will be 0.01 microsecond. If you are using I5, might be it will be 0.06 microseconds. Understand? That is the reason we are not exactly keeping the time. We are just keeping the T1, T2, just arbitrary numbers we are keeping. Now we'll try to see what is the time it taken, right? So first T1 is executed, right? Try to understand. First what is executed? T1. So T1 plus, next what is executed? T2 plus, next is what is executed? T3, next what is executed? T4, next what? T5. Okay, fine. After T5, next what is executed? T6. That's all. Again when you come, T4 is executed because hello is printed 5 times, right? So T4 is executed, again T5 is executed, again T6 is executed. Can you please tell? T4 plus T5 plus T6. Again what? T4 plus T5 plus T6. Again what? T4 plus T5 plus T6. I hope this is very clear, right? So next time this and all will be taking small amount of time. I don't really worry. Now listen carefully. Very interesting point. What is the total time taken? T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus, if I can take common out of this, 5 into T4 plus T5 plus T6. This is what the time it is taken, right? Just what I am trying to do, I am replacing this 5 with what? N. I am replacing this 5 with what? N. So this 5 is replaced with what? N. Means what is the total time taken to run this algorithm? T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus N into T4 plus T5 plus T6. See, very interesting point. When the value of n is 5, 5 into this one. When the value of n is 10, 10 into this one. So, have you noticed only T1, T2, T3 and T4, T5, T6 are constant. Only n value is changing. N could be 5, n could be 10, n could be 100, n could be n only. So we are depending only the value on the value of n. Means the time taken to run this program will be n times. The time taken to run this program will be what? N times. And we are representing that with what? Big O of n. Means the time taken to run this algorithm is big O of n. Big O of n. Why big O of n? Because I is equal to 1. Just understand, very important, is executed only one time. I less than or equal to 5, I is equal to I plus 1, hello only repeated n times. That is the reason, strictly speaking, it should be what? T4 is some unit, T5, T6 are some unit, this and all is a constant. That is the reason all constants are represented with what? 1. Every constant is, we simply represent with what? 1. Means this expression will be what? 1, and this expression will be 3. 1 plus 1 plus 3. So strictly speaking, it will become what? 3 plus, try to understand, n into 3, and I need to take only the varying term. The varying term is what? N. I hope this is very clear. Understand? Very important point I am telling. Try to understand here which is the dominating, which is varying, that one only I need to take, right? See, very interesting point I am going to discuss for you. Listen carefully. This is n value. This is number of times loop repeated. Number of times loop repeated. Time basically, right? If I want to repeat the loop for one time, I mean say when the value of n is 1, when the value of n is 2, when the value of n is 3, and when n is 4 and when n is 5. Let us take it is running in 0.1 millisecond. Just we are assuming. Next 0.2 millisecond, 0.3 millisecond, 0.4 millisecond, 0.5 millisecond. Let us take n value 1, means the algorithm will take only 1 millisecond. The algorithm will take only 1 millisecond, right? See here, the algorithm will take only 1 millisecond. If the value of 2, then it will take 0.2 milliseconds, 3, 0.3 milliseconds, 4, 0.4 milliseconds, 5, 0.5 milliseconds. Understanding my point? So, the way it goes is like this, right? This is how it goes. Now, another interesting point I am telling here, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 are dependent on the machine. That are dependent on the machine. Now let us take another scenario so that we'll get more clarity. Okay, see here. So some systems, what will happen, you know, this 0.1 can be written as 10 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, right? So if there is some other system based on 10 milliseconds, that may go this order, another may go this order, another may go this order. So have you noticed all lines are parallel? Means here based on the n only the values are dependent, understand? Not based on the time, not based on the time. Whatever the time it is, we don't really care. Why? That's what I am telling. Based on the speed of the system, we will not estimate algorithm. Based on the how many applications are running, we will not estimate the algorithm. Based on the length of the input only we are estimating. Here the length of the input is n and this loop is repeated n times. This loop is repeated n times. That is the reason this is how you will get. This is a linear, this is linear, this is linear. So here this will execute in how much time? Linear time. O of n is also called what? Linear time. Try to understand, very important point. Have you noticed that always input is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 n value, but here the time will be changed. The time will be changed. We really don't know the time factor. Okay, time factor really dependent on the speed of the processor and how many applications are currently running. I never care about the time. That is the reason have you seen T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 I just removed. So we are just calculating the approximate time, amortized time, right? Approximate is also called amortized time, and the time taken to run this algorithm is how much? Big O of n. What is this called? Big O of n. Big O of n. What is big O n? Now only we introduce the story will run. So overall what you need to understand, don't tell my program is running faster. There are so many other external factors, right? What are the external factors? Speed of the process, speed of the machine, and how many applications running on a machine. That and all we should not consider. Based on that, you should not tell my program is running faster or not. You need to see which is the varying term and which is the dominant term. Now we are going to see so many other examples and we'll estimate how much time they take. Well, now we are going to discuss one important program for you. See here, listen carefully. Void test. So whatever the things we are discussing, I am using a test function, standard function. Next what I am trying to do is int I comma n for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I is equal to I plus 1. Try to understand. Printf hello. Here hello is printed how many times? N times. So what is the output? Hello is printed n times. Might be n we are getting at runtime. Hello is printed how many times? N times. So the time taken to run this algorithm is n times. That is the reason we are representing with what? O of n. O of n. Understand? Very interesting point this is. Now I am going to take another example. Just listen carefully. Void test int I comma n comma x. Going forward, I will not be using that variables. We assume that variables are there. Understand? Every time I don't want to write int I n x. That and all we learned in other programming languages. For now, you need to understand all the variables are there straight away. Initially, I will be writing, but going forward, I don't write it anyhow. I less than or equal to n. I is equal to I plus 1. If I is equal to x. I am writing what here? Break. Next what I am trying to do is printf hello. So the question is how many times hello printed. That's what the time bracket. So if you want to analyze the time, the dominating is only for. This and all are not taking much time, right? So the challenge is how much time this for is taking. That's what we are interested to learn, right? Now most of the times people are thinking this loop is repeated x times. This loop is repeated x times. No. So we need to know that whenever break is encountered, we need to come out, right? Well, so we'll see the question this way. Try to understand. Let us take n value 10. Okay, fine. When the value of n is 10, understand, very interesting point I am discussing. X value is 1. Means this loop will repeat how many times? One time. Why? 1 equal to 1 through break. Okay, let us take n value is 10. x value is 5, x value is 5, x value is 5, right? So this loop will repeat how many times? 5 times. Let us take n value is 10, x value is 20. Understand? When this is true, when I reaches 20, why? X value is how much? 20. Understand? Try to understand. But this condition is never true. Why? Maximum value of n is what? 10. Maximum value of n is 10. Try to understand. Let us take n value is, it's a loop repeated here how many times? 1 time. Here how many times? 5 times. Here how many times? 10 times. Try to understand, very important point I am telling. When this condition true, if I value is 20, because x value is 20, but I value will never be 20. Why? Because n is 10, 10 less than or equal to 10 only true. Fine. Let us take n value 10, x value 200. How many times loop repeated? 10 times. X value 10, n value 10, x value 2000. How many times loop repeated? 10 times. So, can you please understand? What is the worst case loop repeated? Worst case, maximum loop repeated how many times? Worst case 10 times. Worst case 10 times. What is the best case? 1 time, right? Means this loop every time repeated n times, but this loop every time not repeated 10 times. Best case it is repeated only 1 time. Worst case means maximum. Behind that you will not go, right? Behind that you will not go. So this is 5 times is obviously we are going to consider as an average case. Try to understand. What is the meaning of best case? Behind this you cannot go. Behind this you cannot go. Minimum x value 1, because I always consider x value is always greater than or equal to 1, right? So we assume x value is greater than or equal to 1. This is the initial condition in your constraint I gave for you. Okay, fine. So in order to run this program, minimum I require one time, which is not dependent on n, remember that. Maximum I require 10 times, which is dependent on n. So best case is represented using omega. The symbol is this one. Best case is always represented using what? Omega. Okay, and the time taken to run this program is 1 time, best case. So the time is how much? Omega of 1. So when the x value is 1 equal to 1 true, loop repeated only 1 time. Next, worst case is represented using big O. What is the symbol? O is the symbol. Okay, and the time taken is maximum 10 times only. Why? Even though x value is 20, I am going to come out of this loop using this condition. So maximum it is going to repeat how many times? Big O of n times. So that is a worst case. Behind worst case you cannot go. Means what I mean to say is, behind this your application won't run. If you are able to achieve worst case, then our job is done, right? Fine. Next, average case. Average is represented using theta. Some people may call as a phi also. So it's all up to you people, theta. Okay, so some people will use this symbol, any symbol you can use. Here what is the case? 10 means phi, average between 10 and 1, average I am going to take as theta of n by 2. Okay, fine. So n by 2, always constant we should not consider. So this also can be written as what? Theta of n. Try to understand, very important point I am telling. What is the meaning of best case? Behind this I cannot write the program. What is the meaning of worst case? Behind this I cannot go, right? So this is the minimum. This is the maximum. What is the meaning of maximum? You cannot cross this. What I mean to say is, listen carefully. If this is one functionality happened, if I tell worst case, there is one boundary, upper boundary, try to understand. So your code will never cross the upper boundary, right? So always upper boundary is indicated using what? Big O. Same case, lower boundary means this code will not go behind this boundary, right? That is the reason we call it as a lower boundary, right? This is represented using what? Omega. In detail, if time requires, we will see. What I mean to say is, this loop, when n value is 10, I am telling, will not cross more than 10 times. Definitely within 10 times your job is done. That's what I mean to say. Means this is 10 times, this is 1 time, that's all. So this will not go above 10, this will not go below 1. That's what I mean to say. I hope this is very clear. So this loop will not go below 1, above 10. That's what I mean to say, right? So that is the reason we are telling minimum and maximum. Worst case, what is the meaning of worst case? Behind that you are not able to go. Now listen carefully, very interesting point I am discussing. Whenever we are writing any program or algorithm, our target is not best case, our target is not average case, our target is not average case, our target is only what? Every time worst case. Our target is every time what? Worst case. Why our target is worst case? The reason is, if you are able to get the solution in worst case, by default your solution will work in best case. Understand? Always don't try to write the solution in the best case. Why? Because for the best case, whichever they written, if there is a possibility of reaching worst case, then your best case algorithm won't work, right? Always you should write the algorithm by assuming only what? Worst case. Why? If your solution is working in the worst case, then there is no chance you will not go behind that. There is no chance you will not go behind that, right? That is the reason always we are going to use what? Big O. Always we are going to use what? Big O. Next, sometimes best case and worst case are same. In that case I can use what? Theta. In that case I can use what? Theta. Now let us take this example. So minimum, how many times this loop repeated? Best case is what? Phi of n, right? Omega of n. Average also, I mean say worst case is also what? Big O of n. Means this loop repeated minimum n times, this loop repeated minimum maximum n times. Means every time loop repeated n times. So instead of writing like this, I can convert this to what? Theta of n. So when we are representing theta, when best case and worst case are same, I mean to say same, then I can use what? Average case. Generally, first either I can use big O or theta. Going forward, I will be using either worst case or average case, but not best case. Why? If the solution is achieved in worst case, then by default I am going to get in best case. There are some programs where best case and worst case are same. That time only I am going to represent what? Average case. So these three notations are called asymptotic notations. What are they called? Asymptotic notations. These three are called what? Asymptotic notations. Okay. What is the meaning of asymptotic? Is, listen carefully, approximate. Asymptotic meaning is what? Approximate. What is the meaning of approximate? Is, listen carefully, very important point. See, strictly speaking, this is what the time you estimated. What is the time of this one? Omega of 1, big O of n, or theta of n by 2 or n, right? But this one also take some time, this one also takes some time, this one also will take some time, right? We are not calculating the exact time, we are just calculating the asymptotic time. Asymptotic time means asymptotic time will always approaches towards actual time, right? So try to understand, very important point. If this is your actual time, okay, if this is your actual time taking, growing this way, then asymptotic time will start here and it goes towards near to the actual time. If this is your actual time, and this is called what? Asymptotic time. Why are we going to call asymptotic time? Because we are not completely estimating the entire time, we are just approximately finding the time. So this is just amortized analysis or asymptotic analysis. What is the meaning of asymptotic? At approximate time closing, nearing to actual time for the length of the input increasing. When the length of the input is increasing, your asymptotic time is also approaching towards it, but never meet, closely moving towards the actual time. That is called asymptotic. Asymptotic meaning is what? Actual time and approximate time is reaching to it. Actually, approximate time is reaching to it, but both will never meet. That is what the actual meaning of asymptotic. If you don't understand that way, even you can consider as what? Approximate. Approximate means not actual, right? Closing, nearing, accurate basically, right? Fine. Now we'll solve some problems.